we're getting into the final stretch. This is the maze. This is section 15 on the score sheet. And what you ask the child to do is to take their pencil for a walk through between the two lines. They start off wider apart here at the top, and then when they get down to point A over here, they become narrower, so the path is more difficult. As the child does this, you are timing how long it takes them, but you also want to tell them to be as accurate as possible, because when you look here, you have to measure the line fold, so how many times they crossed the line. And then you record the time taken and the extra seconds. Now the extra seconds, when you look on the back here, it explains they get 1 penalty for each crossing of a line, and for each penalty you have to add 2 seconds to the time score. So then you get a total for section A, and then how long it took them from section A to the end of B. So time from the start to A, and then add your penalties, time from A to B, and add your penalties. What I would do though is I wouldn't stop the child, I would make them do the whole thing. I would just make sure that I record the time when they get there and up and at the end as well, and afterwards work out the penalties. So that's section 15. Now the remainder you do not have, but this is the next one. I just want to show you. I get it mostly into shot there. If I turn it slightly, there we go, that will do. So I set it up with the board and these little metal things, and they're more or less evenly spaced out, sort of. And then I explained to the child that they're going to move each one, or as many as they can, from this side across to this side, but it must be placed within the 2 yellow lines. So if it's on the edge, you can actually, the lines are slightly raised, so it's not quite as difficult, but they must be placed within those yellow lines. And they have 15 seconds in which to do it. You encourage them to use their dominant hand, and once they have done 15 seconds are up, you count how many they have managed to place correctly. You then ask them, I'm not going to move them all, I'm just going to sneakily turn it round, to do it the other way as well. So they're going to move them from left to right and right to left as well. You might want to start with left to right, but anyway, they always do it with their dominant hand, and they've only got 15 seconds in which to do it. You count how many they do, after the 15 seconds are up, record that, and then do it from the other side, and again 15 seconds, and record that as well. And here I will just show you down at the bottom, number of rods, left to right and right to left in 15 seconds. Now the last 2 sections here are about colour. And here we have a colour differentiation. So these are some tiles here, and all you're going to ask the child, are the colours on the tile the same or different? So here we've got 2 different colours. Here we have the same colour. We're not asking them to tell you what it is. Again, same or all the same or different. And again, and again, and again, and the final one. It doesn't really matter which order, but I can tell from looking at these that we really are, it's very much a focus on red-green ability to discriminate between those 2 colours. And finally, and it'd be easy to make these. I'm just laying them out so that you can see them. If I get them in shot, there we are. And this time you're going to present these tiles to child individually, and they are going to name them. and all you would do is record. You'd need to just quickly write the names of the colours and then record. And here, colour differentiation, quickly record. So when it came to the yellow and white one, for example, I would just put Y/W, R for red, B/BR for blue-brown, and so on. So you get the idea. Now, once you have completed all of the scoring, there is another sheet. And this is the summary profile sheet. So here we've got all of the sections that we've done. And what you do is you then go back and you circle how many the child got right in each section. So if we think back to number 1, the naming of the 3D objects, where we had the cup and the spoon, the sock, the key, the block, how many did the child get right? Circle a number in that row, and that tells you whether your skill is underdeveloped, partially developed, or developed. And then you'd put a cross in the correct box, depending on where the number is that you've circled. So if they got 4 right, you would circle 4 in number 1, and you'd put your cross in partially developed. Naming and describing photographs. You remember that was the one with the horse and the train and so on. So if they got 5 right, circle 5, that's in the developed column, and you put your cross over here. Here, for that one that I just showed you with the maze, if the child took 46 seconds to go from the start to A, or longer, then you would circle here, so it was underdeveloped, and then from A to the end, which is B, if it took them 51 seconds, now remember that's 51 seconds starting again from 0, that would be circled here, and so on. If they did it all, start to A in less than 35 seconds, it would be developed skill. So you then have a profile of the areas that are underdeveloped or partially developed, and then here is the handbook. Look and think handbook, do not remove, because it was in the case, and you can see who wrote it there. And here we have, it was first published in 1979, but this edition is 1989, so it's still fairly old, probably not one for your reference list. It's clear pictures of how the test is carried out. You can see it being done, all the different aspects of it here. But further on, somebody doing the rods. There's a picture here of the child doing the maze, being timed with a vintage watch, shall we say. And then we've got, just as I was saying, how to score your profile as well. They've put crosses and then they've joined them. I'm not sure if I would do that, but you know, it's an idea. And then we've got some ideas for teaching as well. So perception in 2D, perception of critical features, some ideas here of how to teach these things if you find that the skill is underdeveloped. Now, as with all of these things, the more you do it, the more that you also build up a standardization in your own mind of what is unusual and what answers that you may expect from children. So you can't get, unfortunately, the whole kit, but you do have the pictorial parts of it, and I really would urge you to give it a go, especially if you've got a child or young person that you're really not quite understanding how they're using their vision. I think a lot of these photographs and line drawings and pictures really give you a good insight, asking them what they see and having a discussion about it, even if you're not using the whole test. Anyway, I hope you found this useful, and we will have a discussion about it after you've seen the rest of the presentation.